like this never live long, but this one is locked in a diabolic waltz, trapped in the grip of a black hole. The gravity here is so powerful, the star orbits at 500,000 miles an hour. The black hole sucks the star's outer layers into a vast, whirling disk. A disk so hot it blasts out X-rays 1,000,000 times more powerful than our sun.
This configuration of star orbiting around a black hole is extreme and it's unstable. First of all, the black hole is eating away at the atmosphere of its companion star. But the star itself is unstable. It will one day undergo a supernova and perhaps leave a black hole in its wake. And then we'll have two black holes rotating around each other, one of the rarest sights in the universe.
Eventually, these black holes will merge, create a new, larger monster, and the cycle of destruction will continue. But this black hole is small. Other black holes take violence to a whole new level. In 2011, astronomers witnessed one of the biggest explosions ever recorded. A flash of radiation brighter than 100 billion suns. A gamma ray burst. It was a spectacular event. The burst came from a supermassive black hole at the center of a distant galaxy. It had been dormant, but something had shocked it back to life.
If you pass by the event horizon, an imaginary sphere surrounding the black hole, that's the point of no return. It's like the ultimate Roche motel. Everything checks in, nothing checks out.
grab like 10 standard colors, and maybe like a couple mixers, and then really be like, here is, you know, $1.79 worth of brushes, you know, like this is the detail brushes at your big box store, and here's $10 of paint, and let's paint a miniature and let's see what the results are. Kind of torn to do that. Also, knowing that I haven't painted a full miniature in at least 10 years, maybe 15, could be slightly more. So that could be a fun challenge even just for myself, you know. So we'll see. I don't know. But at the store, they had a huge assortment of metallics, acrylics. And I was really surprised about that. So surprised that I basically ended up buying 8 or 9 of them, and we're going to use them to go over a lot of these little globes. I like the gold, I like the silver, I like it looking a little dirty, a little brassy, a little bronzy. You know, I do like metals and woods together, and there's definitely a part of me that in my fantasy kind of imagination, metal and wood goes together in a fantasy world in a sense of like, it's technology, it's electricity, it's natural, so it always feels to me that like you're blending a little bit of both. In my own, you know, whatever style that I perceive it to be. So I really liked the idea of having like a lot of different metallics for the beads. Not so much the ink washes. They're cool on some of them, but you know what? They lack a little bit of that theatricality, right? Where it just kind of looks like the dyed bead. Like, let's be serious, it kind of does. So I go, okay, yeah, it's kind of clean, it's crisp, I get it, I can see the wood. But when they're in like the metal sheens, it just kind of twists it a little bit, where there is that faux-ness, because you look at it and your mind says wood, but your mind also says, no, that's metal. So then there's that almost imagination of saying, accepting that, yes, that wood bead is metal, and that kind of combines the whole picture. That is a lot of like rambling shit about the design idea that is popping through my head right now, but that's where I'm going. So we're gonna play with a lot of these little metallics. Like, this is a antique copper. Cool. I like antique copper. I'd like to have my blade with me right now. So we're gonna play with these and see what we get. And these are cheap stuff. Sad thing is I primarily went out today to get. I don't know if I mentioned that I had some problems with some feet leaving weird. Some sort of, it's a chemical reaction with the shellac table that I had done. So because of that, I wanted to go out and pick up a can of de-waxed shellac, which is also basically sanding sealer or seal coat, like Zinsser's seal coat. Basically like 100% de-waxed shellac, which is great, because I can use it just like all the other shellac as well. But you can also top coat on it, so you can go over that with the poly. And because I was having some questionable things with that one table, I said, you know what? Also, it's a table. The shellac, you got to worry about water and glasses and things like that, and alcohol on it. Let me put a polyurethane on it, because then it will give it a nice, hard, resilient coat. But so I sanded out those blemishes, and it actually looks really slick, satiny. But I need to, the coating that's on it now is a waxed shellac. So I need to put a coat of de-waxed shellac on. Blah, blah, blah. And nobody had it. I had to order it. And they don't have it because they want to carry like literally, if here's the merchandising of it or marketing of it or monopolizing it in a sense. Do I even have anybody? Do I got anybody? Oh shit, yeah. Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? I'm battling, but we're gonna get down to doing some of this painting on these magic wands for the Festival of Wood, because these are the very last things that I have to make, and I want to be laying poly on these by the end of this weekend. It's like 2 coats worth, so they can just sit and get nice and hard for the Festival of Wood. Yeah. Have that in one sentence. Seriously. True story, being literal, and it just sounds like it's just mucking about, but that is a realistic statement there. So you go to the store and you look at, say like a can of polyurethane, and the store mostly carries Minwax. Minwax will have its own little description of how to pre-coat for the other coats. And it usually requires using more of the expensive product, where the seal coat is just like, 1,000-year-old sanding sealer. De-wax shellac, right? We've already gone over shellac a million times. But you can kind of top coat it with almost anything, right? So it's pretty cheap, and it's super versatile. So the company that wants to sell you their own fabricated sanding sealer, or they tell you how to mix their more expensive product to use it as a sanding sealer, and they recommend not to sand or not to go over other products, not because they don't want you to have a bad finish, but usually because they want you to get locked into their system of selling you more products. Because to some extent, it sounds conspiracious, but it's true. It's like a paint company that's like, don't mix with other brands. You're like, oh, okay, but why? If they're both enamels, and by definition, a certain type of enamel is defined chemically because of those components, why can't I use it with another company? But a lot of that just comes down to researching products and understanding, what that product actually is. And workarounds. All right. I'm going to start painting. What do I want to do? We want to take this guy. We're going to start doing Let's see what we got. This is actually their gold, and I want to see how their gold is. How is everybody tonight? This is gonna be. Oh, there's another brush. If that's the case, let me get that off there. Oh, especially when you really think about it, like all of these paints that all come in a very similar bottle, sometimes they're identical. Where are they really being made? A lot of it's probably all the same. And I am curious to see how much more of a pop I get with the fresh gold over the old gold. And will I be able to use the old gold as like a base gold and use this gold as a highlight almost? So this is, I was in here earlier doing some table work, just a little last touches on some of the tables. That's nice to have cut that almost out of my hair. Almost. So this guy's almost gonna look like a kitchen utensil. So these guys, basically, my aim is lay the metallics down, or solids, depending on what it is. And then just come back with a couple different washes and literally just grab a couple, you know, do a little, even if I just have a handful of washes in front of me, you know, just a couple mixed up dyes, maybe really thin, and just do some really fast kind of details, maybe put some cracks in, just those little last accoutrements that make it look slightly, I'll probably do that silver. Or, oh, I think I got like a gunmetal. What is that? This is chocolate brown metallic. Why not? Let's see how it looks. And then, you know, be done. So, shouldn't be that, what is that? It's kind of like a dark copper. So, it's my initial goal, which has been, I've been doing pretty good at getting close to it, or at least staying on schedule, as Christopher Walken says in what, View to a Kill. I remember watching that as a kid, and he's like, "Go on schedule," and I'm like, "Schedule?" I was a kid. I didn't know what schedule meant. Like, why did Christopher Walken? I want to know from the actor's perspective. Like, if he was on, you know, inside the actor's studio with Philip Lipton, who's a total douchebag, or James Lipton, whatever his name is, douchebag, he's an asshole. How do you know? Just trust me. Just trust me. Nobody trusted me on Kevin Spacey. And then what happened? Oh shit. Yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna go dark tonight. Fuck, I don't even know what I was talking about. Alright. But, this is a neat one. You know what? Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Let's see. Amethyst. Oh, you know what? If we're doing amethyst, I'm gonna have to put a base coat down. We'll have to put some white or something down on it, because I know it's not gonna grab. Oh, one thing I did grab, which might be really, really cool to play with, and not even say anything about it, was this. So we're making magic wands, right? We're painting magic wands. Here, you know what? Let me switch that camera. And they're for kids. They're for the Festival of Wood, so I just want to have a few more fun things for it. For the kids. You know. Kind of stodgy. But the place does look like Hogwarts or something, so it's kind of cool for that. So I think, you know, the magic, the fantasy aspect of it, I think is going to fit in really well. But what is kind of cool that I saw, and I wasn't even thinking about it, but when I was grabbing these metallics, I saw it and I went, that is perfect. So it's neutral, which means it should be pretty much almost clear when it's done. It may have a slight tint, but it shouldn't have much. But this is glow-in-the-dark paint. So I think on all of these, I'm gonna find a spot where I can go and paint a little almost invisible UV slash glow in the dark paint on these wands and not say anything about it, right? So if you're a kid or mom or dad or whatever, and you buy one of these wands at the Festival of Wood, sounds like I'm plugging it, right? And if you buy one of these wands at the Festival of Wood, and you leave it on a countertop, and all the lights are off in your house, and you come out in your nightgown because you had a bump in the night, and you see something glowing on the countertop, and you freak out, right? It could be one of these wands. So I'm gonna definitely experiment with that, because here's what I remember when I saw that glow in the dark paint. At some point, I'll start painting more. So I need to find my base. When I was a kid, let's see if any of this whites are. You know what? Actually, let's just do this. If this, without having to go and get a bunch of stuff, I'm sure peach or flesh tone will be a fine base for amethyst. Except it is. All right, so that paint did not survive. And the funny thing is, right there, literally, I threw it to my trash can, and it hit the backstop, which is a dry erase board, and it bounced into my dry erase board cup holding all my dry erase racers that's suspended about 2 feet above my trash can. I probably could have done that if I tried. I'm pretty certain I couldn't. So, we'll see what happens.
I'm trapped.
Alright, what else we got? Oh, I do have a wait. God damn it. That feels liquid. That feels liquid. That makes sense. So when I saw the that'll totally work. The glow in the dark paint. What it reminded me of was ooh, that's some water paint. I wonder. I'm trying to think if I actually used this before, or like maybe I watered it down or something
I'm trapped.
to get it paint-like again, because this definitely will be fine. It'll definitely work, but so like this wand right here, I'm looking at it and I'm going, you know what? The bare wood in between, we're gonna go copper. So what we'll be seeing is a copper and amethyst kind of wand for the kids. Although, I do believe this one has already been spoken for. It was my favorite one at one point, and then I made that other one. And sorry, my first child got booted to be the second child. But I swear, I love all my works. It's a tough question when people ask you, they go, "Oh, what are you most proud of, or what do you like the most, or what's your favorite one?" Like, I don't know if I can answer that. Like my cats. There's times where I'm like, Grumpy, you're a dick, and Happy, you are amazing. And whatever one chewed up my USB charging plug for my Bluetooth wireless headphones, you're a dick. We'll deal with them later. And it's I wish cats had longer memory, like a longer sense of memory span. What up? It is like who's my favorite. It really is. Like I don't. How are you tonight, Lexi? Oh, and I want to talk to you about the choker that you made. We're definitely going to talk about that in a second. Good job. Cool. Yeah, we got to talk about it. but it is like, who's my favorite child? And I remember, like, Mr. Boosh had asked me, I think it was Mr. Boosh, like, if you had a piece that you're most proud of or whatever. And I really, you know, I don't, without a doubt, do struggle at the idea of coming up with, like, what is my favorite piece. It really, really is not easy. No, no, no. Don't be scared about the talk. Not at all. Is it all, well, because here's the talk. We gotta talk about this. Is it all solid? You didn't carve links and, like, put it together, right? Because I watched, when I was doing a job at FIT in New York City, they were showing 3D CNC cutting of bags, like pocket bags, that were like flat chain link. Okay. Yeah. And that was just like, you'd see it and it would just all cut and they'd lift it up and it'd be like, oh, but they're all loose. And I'm like, if she did that by hand, oh my God. Which is good. The fact that I couldn't tell, right? That's what it's all about. It's about, does it sell it? You know? And if you don't know and you have to ask, well, you sold it enough. Which is good. That's still like a lot of, damn. How many times did you go, oh shit, I carved over the line that I wasn't supposed to? That happen a lot? Because I know when I do things like that, it's gonna happen maybe once, at least. At least twice. How did you differentiate which were behind and which were on the foreground, or what layers? Did you like hard cut, or like how'd you differentiate that? Because that's one of those things where you go, I gotta create like a rule, you know, create a little rule, a system really, that allows me to know which is which without having to go, which is which. Crap. And now you're looking at a map. Ah, so you didn't create a system. You gotta create a system. That's how you make those things easy. So like, all you have to do, right? So, how many layers were there? 2 or 3? No, that is not the one I want. Yeah, if you figure out a way of like, even like color coding, like if you know you're gonna cut one deeper, then you, or what your like, figure out what your positive and your negatives are. And I always like color coding or shading or something like that, just because it's so much more of a visual representation. But yeah. Figure out where your cutouts are and what lines, you know, like, does this line have to go under or does it go over? So you kind of, yeah. Yeah, if you come up with a little quick way of remembering, those are the things that you need to do. That actually looks really, honestly, it looks really dirty and rough, and I really like that. That looks supernatural. Wow. And I don't mean this looks supernatural. I mean, it looks super natural. It is. You know what? This wand just painted itself. No, for real. I love that. Yeah, no problem. Do the mom thing. I had a point conversion. Where'd it go? Oh, let me use this one. Oh, there it is. It's totally rolled underneath my little. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that like it's those lessons that I think half of experience is just really just coming up with. Yeah, honestly, I love this wand right now. Without even doing anything else, looks so muddled. I will be honest, when this wand is sold to somebody, I'm gonna go, hey. I'm just gonna put a little bit of darker on this wood here. Oh man, for real. This is. Man, there's so many like. This and the funny thing is, this is just like one that we just kind of knocked out at the end. Let me get up. Oh, you know what? I won't miss. Ooh, even better. Ooh. Yeah. You know, there's something when it's one of those things where, like, the way this guy is looking right now is, just literally, it's one of those things where you have props and then you have like hero props, right? If you're like movies or whatever, and those hero props are the ones that when that camera is right up on top of it, it looks as real as it's supposed to, or as authentic as it's supposed to, or whatever. And like, this guy right now has taken on such a natural feel. So I'm talking about a bunch of little dowels and beads, but in the sense of like magic props or whatever you want to call it. Looking legit. It's definitely, it's gotten there. It's so neat, you know? And this is just a little bit of shellac and a little bit of dye and a little bit of alcohol. And we're just using it as like a slight toner. If I was using acrylics, this would basically be, you know, super dark brown with a little bit of water. Or actually super dark brown with a lot of water. But it could be considered just like a dark brown wash. But that right now, yeah. Everything is dirty, but it feels natural. So that guy is done. This guy can come up. So basically most of the guys up here, I've futzed around with them enough that they're in that done category, with the exception of just a little bit of kind of distressing or just toning up a little bit, like where it looks too clean. The wand looks too clean, it's gonna get, and I gotta be careful with the glitter. If the wand looks too clean, it's gonna get a little bit of dirtiness to it. I don't want things to look fresh and brand new. which a lot of that's just gonna come in with a little bit of wash. And for speed, it might even just be acrylic, because then I can tweak it with the water and I don't have to worry about it saturating in as much. Alright, so let's knock out these guys that are next to me. Copper. Copper and purple, I'll take that. Actually, I think copper and purple go really, really well together. And in fact, I might even try a little bit of that amethyst on the little spiky end there, the pointy end, and see if we can't get a little glitter action going. There's also, if I need to, do any sort of really, yeah, like I like this really natural metal look that we get with the dark wash under, or the dark base. Not a solid base, it's kind of a marbly base, but it creates a lot of awesome differences in the metallics going on top. It's like, if you could figure out what you want your end result to look like, you could pre-plan that and be like, alright, marble black base, mild to light, medium to light top coat with the gold, because obviously most metallics will separate to some extent, where they have a little bit of transparency to it. So where the marbling is will look different than where it's not. You know, almost like a little bleed through, or just literally how different a base coat of black is to a base coat of white is really what you're kind of seeing. Which, unless you've got good opaque coverage, is very noticeable. But yeah, that's really cool. And I almost think that, I mean, there's going to be a couple that are flashy, but I really think I'll keep this. Did I just... Sorry, I heard... Did I just hear bits? Oh, you're hosting me. Ah, thanks, Lexi. I hear weird sound effects from the other room, and I don't know what it is. Alright, so let's start working on some of these base coats. Thank you for that, host. Hopefully you're taking care of your baby aggro. Aggro. Yeah, this is definitely like kind of just looking around what I got. Antique copper. Can you play with this much at all? Let's see. Ooh, that's good. I've heard of that. So yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, antique copper. You're great. It's like, you're great, antique copper. Really though, it is a great color for something like this. It's also kind of cool because I've used copper in 3 of the last 7 pieces that I made. So why not? This is actually the copper that's, I wouldn't even say it's antiqued. But this is like, honestly, this is the copper stage that I want my big clock to come in at, because it's where it's slightly tarnished and ruddier, but not it doesn't have like the blues or the browns in it yet. It's still kind of that copper orange is just darker. Having a ball? Does that mean she's having a great time, or does that mean she's playing with a ball? And let's see what this does on something dark. We'll just play around with it. I mean, I am not gonna shy away from the idea of not having color per se on these, and just have the combination of the natural woods and the metallics. That honestly would be completely fine with me. So let's just go and let's hide some of these colors. Second coat. Gotcha. Oh shit, there it is. Didn't even see that. Well, we'll find out in a second if you can use it as a tonic. But let's see if we can actually use acrylic paints like we're painting acrylic paints, where we can pull in another one. And, oh yeah. So the nice thing about that is literally we're just now, I could actually just take this and like cut in just a little bit on those faces, and then we'll let that set up a little bit and knock some off the sides, and bam. This whole thing gets a wash. It's kind of badass. The pine in the top for some darkness in. Should be the honey wand. That's what this should be called right now, because it really, it's like golden yellow. What's the honey wand cast though? That is a question. What does the honey wand cast? Put the lotion in the basket.
Let's go!
So, yeah, damn. Alright, so he needs to dry some more. Oh wow, that's funny. It's almost like Big Brother, Little Brother. So the really, really funny thing that I always think about when I see, it's looking good. The glow in the dark paint was where I grew up. The family house had a finished basement, and that was like the D&D hangout, you know. That was where we gamed. Like my house, 75% of the time was the gaming house. Like, that's between my friends and I. It was often at mine. Honestly, if you're a gamer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or even just growing up in general. There's kids' houses that you never really went to. You were good friends with them, right? But you never really went to their homes. So, anyway, my house was not that house. My house was where we would basically game on the weekends. And at one point, when we were gaming, and I think we had discovered LARPing by this point. All right, not judging any. And this is why I don't necessarily judge people too much about some of their hobbies that they've had. So anyway, we had discovered LARPing, and we had spell packets. Now we were in early high school, maybe even, well, yeah, if we were LARPing, we were in high school. Freshman year, probably. Alright. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever played LARP, any kind of LARP, a lot of times Magic is dealt with spell packets, which are basically beanbags, right? Called a spell packet. It's a beanbag. So if it was like something that you had to hit, like magic missile or something stupid like that, you'd actually have to physically throw it at your opponent and hit him. Not done yet. And we were in my basement, and I think I want to do the middle wood on this guy with some. It's gonna be amethyst, so I'm gonna do that copper, the good looking copper. Or is that royal gold? Which is which? Pure gold, royal gold. What is this? I'll see when I figure it out. Yeah, I think that's so I had these spell packets, and I had a bottle of glow-in-the-dark paint, and I thought it would be cool to paint my spell packets glow-in-the-dark paint. Thinking that, you know, if I'm at an outdoor LARP or something and I go and throw it, it'd be like throwing a tracer. So I painted a bunch of them. And one night we're like playing D&D in my downstairs in the basement. And at some point, like, it's like super nerding out right now, just so you know. At some point, someone throws a spell packet. Honestly, it was probably Sean at Paul Vella, who, surprisingly enough, ended up being like a lead designer on the Xbox 360 graphics chip. So hey, it works out in the end. Could have been me. I was definitely that asshole a lot of the times. But that led into spell packet fight in my basement with pretty much the lights off. But what happened was we were hitting the walls. The walls were like a white kind of stucco-y texture, you know, finish. Like spackle. Not quite popcorn, but kind of like stucco on the inside. obviously hides all the bad imperfections of your taping jobs and everything like that. And didn't really think much about it. And then we stopped. And lights are still off. Hopefully you're still following on this awesome story I'm rambling at. But what had happened was the glow-in-the-dark paint was not dry inside the spell packets. Because it was like a sponge. So every time we threw a spell packet and it hit a wall, it left a splotch size of a spell packet, right? Like $50, you know, maybe whatever. And the entire basement was covered with polka dots on the walls that you never saw unless all the lights are off. But, you know, house sold like that. Randomness. Totally random. Totally crazy and fun, though. Alright. I already know what you're going to get. This guy is going to get... Let's do a blend. And I think this guy, this little stone on this one's gonna get a little bit of that kind of emerald metallic, or not emerald, ruby something. We'll try it on that. Just drag a little bit of the metallic on it. Yeah. It's wonderful. A little bit. Another supernatural. I had to, like, I need to put a bigger pause in my super and natural. So the older gold, or the whatever they want to call it, just has a little bit of a little bit more orange in it, which I think on this one, considering it's orange, suits it nicely. It's also got that dark, dirty base, so it looks already really old and tarnished up. Even though we all know gold does not tarnish. So if you ever see fantasy gold that's tarnished, that is some legit fantasy gold. I like to think this is like soot from somebody who stole it. What show? Fantasy Gold? I don't know what you're talking. Is that a show? I almost feel like I got somebody else's text. Oh, Supernatural, yeah. It's like every time I say it, it goes, oh, like, I mean, it looks natural. Like, super natural. But every time I say it, but I'm holding a magic wand! So it's like, yes. Quite the conundrum. I never got into Supernatural. I've seen some episodes. You know what it was about Supernatural that kind of that I couldn't get into so much? Is I think it felt like Prison Break. But with like supernatural things. I think that was the biggest thing that I had a hard time kind of getting into it. Yeah, no, it's funny. So this is what happens, right? So I make a wand like this, right? And it looks very organic, right? And by that I mean it looks like supernatural. And every time I'm saying it, I'm like, God damn it. But I'm holding a magic wand. So how can you do both? So I know what it is. You like that type, or you liked that type. That's what that is then. Because literally, I think you could take the two brothers from Supernatural and the two brothers from Prison Break, right? Because they're both brothers. They both probably drive like cool cars, and one guy's like the tough rebel who doesn't want to say a lot, and the other one's like the smarter, slightly charmier one, right? That's kind of I'm just guessing, but that tends to fit the pattern. So, yeah, I bet you could probably just take those two people, even just the two actors, and cross them into the other series, and they would probably just go seamless. It's almost like Charmed in 90210. Almost. Like, really. Charmed is kind of like, not to say because what's her name was in it, but like Charmed would be like an episode of 90210 when most of the girls were getting along and like doing something for the prom all together. Or once again, teenage pregnancy. We're there. Have them full circle. Honestly, there's glitter fucking everywhere now. I'm serious. Like, I went out to look at some stuff in my living room, and I'm like, is that? Yeah. Like, done. House is contaminated with glitter fleas. There's even some on the axe. I grabbed it, I spun it, and I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm like, damn it, it wasn't even in here, and there's green glitter on it. Which means it was like on my hand or something. I've been glittified. Oh. Wow. Do that on improv. Woo. All right. So we're going to glittify this one. Because this is some Christmas green metallic that we're going to play with. How are you doing tonight, man? I went out and this is it, guys. So like if you're looking for fancy, you're at Red Lobster right now. Because this is about as fancy as it's gonna get. But oh, that is too green. Alright, so that green can't last in its primary sense. Let's see what it looks like over a dark. It's not bad on that then. Alright. Actually, you know what this green looks like? Oh, perfect. So, here's a funny, happy accident. This Christmas green glitter, in fact, is the perfect color for copper patina. You know what that means? We're gonna come back in. I'm gonna wait, and I'll do it on all three. These ones here, I'm gonna dry brush it with the copper because it literally looks like that aqua semi iridescent metallic or copper metallic patina that I actually even have on one of those clocks. So we'll come back in on this guy and do it in reverse, and we'll see. You know, what will probably happen is we'll do a dry brush with the copper patina or the copper color and see if it works, and we might have to. We'll probably come in with some bold sections so it looks more of it. Yeah, dude, I got it about 2 hours ago. Came in. I was wondering if you were getting it before me. Definitely got it, dude. All right, so same thing. Let's see, what do we do here? I really, honestly, don't like the yellow.
Check it out, and I see what he means, and I think he's kind of hit the nail on the head. Best remix so far.
But hopefully I want to be done with these guys tonight. Not that I don't enjoy painting them, but it is more of a mission style paint, you know, just like get it done than it's more get it done than have fun right now. It is fun because it doesn't matter what I do, but there's definitely that, man, I just want to get it done. That being said, I'm still on good schedule. Yeah, when the downpour, actually, you know what? The downpour showed up just after 5 o'clock. Because I remember looking, I was in my kitchen, and it felt dark. And I looked I looked out, I'm like, man, it's kind of dark, and I looked at the clock, and the clock was like, or maybe the clock was 5:42. Should not be, it felt like 8 o'clock, like outdoor lighting wise. And then shortly thereafter, it all came on down. No, I'm East Coast. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of these guys. Not one of those guys, these guys. One of those guys. Not one of these guys. That's it, man. Just threw the territorial sign of the Eagles. They're gonna come at me now. I actually have eagles in my area. Kind of badass. I have Texas. Texas? And I don't know. I got family in Texas. I just wish that the jaw would be a little bit looser. Let's see. This guy, I think we do this thing all copper lead. Is that one? Alright, this song is like music montage right now. I just like to point out that I'm pretty much using the exact same brush for everything that I'm painting. With the exception of swapping colors. Or, swapping inks versus actual paints. There's no basement at the Alamo. A monster state, though. It's like you drive into Texas and the sun's coming up, and you're going the long way. It's like, damn, sun's going down, and I'm still in Texas. Oh, brutal. I used to visit. So when I was really, really little, although I remember it very well. Used to go down to Galveston for the summertime as like family camper trip kind of thing. Because that's what you do in the 70s. Pile up into your camper and we'd go down to Galveston. And I don't know, you know, or maybe a week off or something. But it was funny because at that time, there had been so many, it's probably not different much now. There had been so many oil leaks, oil spills in that, because Galveston is a big oil area, obviously. That literally you would dig into the beach sand and get like a hand scoop underneath and it was all black. That's what I remember about Galveston. That, and I have a photo of it somewhere in like an album, but like a half a mile out into the ocean is a car, like a station wagon. And I don't know how it got there. But I do remember having a photo of it, I believe. What? Yeah, honestly, I haven't even delved into those. Yeah, so they're obviously commands. Are they basically a way of linking on chatbot to sites? To my sites? No, seriously. There's a lot of the front end that I haven't played around with once I got my initial setup out. I'm being completely honest. And the Festival of Wood has kind of kicked me in the gut as far as workload goes. But it is via chatbot. So it's literally all I have to do is fill in some command or probably just fill in the blanks on the mini app, and then that will have the links. Ah, okay. So you're saying get a mod that will just basically on their own go ahead and do it themselves for me? Or do you mean mod bot? Because I have a mod bot. Yeah, I know I need to, because I'll look at it and even just from my own perspective be like, damn, I haven't even tweaked a setting in a while, you know? Like, I'll play with a camera, but that's just really playing on the camera on the physical side of it, not on the electronic side. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for me, it's not about knowledge of it. It's really just about not taking the time to do it. You know, like I was streaming at least a month before I even had the chatbot app on my computer. I was just doing, you know, whatever. I even need to go to my channel page. Like, I don't have the store stuff up. I don't have web page stuff set up on it. And it's just kind of like, for me, honestly, part of this is just getting the workout. And then being able to get back into it. Alright, so let's... So that's green. Let's get that silver. Did I just make a paint totally vanish? No. Silver. What I was using? I could have sworn I bought a new silver. That's ironic that my chatbot basically responded with that though. But seriously, it's like, check out my Instagram, and the Garage Gunny was like, that's funny. He's like, stop, get off my grass. What up, Caliber? How you doing? Perfect timing. I do need to get on it, Lexi, for sure. One, it's good for page growth, right? I mean, you gotta beautify your content as you're trying to improve everything else too. So I do need to get on it. Without making excuses, this Festival of Wood has put a pretty heavy, hard time frame for getting a lot of stuff done. Yeah, and it is, and it's one of those things you can do the back end and get it set up, and then you're like, all right, I feel good, I've got it set up, and you're like, then you get caught up in just like the doing aspect of it. And then you forget about the back end. Be like wheezing in the stream. There's times where I'll be streaming and I'm like, man, I am congested. Even right now, I'm like, allergies. Blame it on the kids. I don't like that. Let's get rid of that. We'll do this. Maybe we'll... darker brown, or the darker copper with that, or the old gold. Ooh, actually, let's do a tricolor on this guy. Let's use this antique brass or whatever it is. I think is a great color for a base, for some antique gold and some shiny gold. And let's do it on both top and bottom. We'll come back to this guy a couple times. We can stay consistent and just do it on the third, which allows us to also kind of knock this guy out a little bit quicker. And we still have to come back and do our kind of distressing washes on everything after we're done with everything. So, you know, even tonight could just be where I get all of the majority of the color down. But then I still have to come back in and do the washes. I'm gonna leave that orange tip on it though. I do like that orange tip. We'll be seeing him at least 2 more times. And also still, there's some spots I'm probably gonna want to put a little bit of glitter in too. Not on all of them, but on some of them. And that could literally just be, I could, on some of them, I can actually just take a little bit of wipe-on poly, because I'm going to polyurethane all of these. I can take a little bit of wipe-on poly, which will be clear, put it on that spot, throw a little bit of glitter there, let it sit. So that would actually be like my adhesive. It'll dry quickly, and I'm going to go over it polyurethane, so that will kind of still tie in all of the, chemically, I think I'll still be good to go. I'll be right back. Let's see here. What is that? All right. Support for support. Thank you for that follow. I don't see it, but thank you anyway. Is that a like for like? I'm wondering. Feels like it. But either way. I never even showed up. So, what do we got? What do we got? Where are we going? It's like Pick and choose. So we kind of come back here. Basically, I just need to wrap up these final guys. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I know I'm gonna go. Let's do some silver. My comp is late? What do you mean? Oh, my computer? I don't know, you know? If that's what you mean. I didn't even see it on the screen, though, but I saw it on my phone as an alert. Yeah, well, yeah, what it was is my phone gave me alert to an email, right? Kind of funny. You just got my password, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. No idea. Either way. What are you up to this weekend, man? No skating at all, or are you going to be trying to get some in? Depending on the weather? You know what? I'm going to go and hit these guys with a little bit of silver, because I'm going to come back and this is going to be the amethyst guy. But literally, I mean, obviously, you guys can kind of see what's raw around me. Oh, and hey, Caliber, here's a question. So I got not too long ago, I got an email from like Twitch saying like, do you and your stream ever watch movies with your viewers? And it asked me a bunch of questions, and honestly, I never got into it because the answer was no. But it is something that I have thought about in the past, where it's almost like, how would it be if we all kind of picked a movie, and obviously I'm going to be doing a task anyway, but I do like watching stuff in the background when I'm doing things, especially if it's not anything too crazy. Like this, I would totally just be watching a movie right now doing this. I actually thought about that. Be like, alright, let's pick a movie that we're going to watch, and you know what, on Friday, we're all going to start the movie at 7 o'clock, because it's streaming on Amazon or whatever, and watch a movie, and shoot the shit while we're doing it. I wonder how that would actually play off, if it would be anything worthwhile. Don't know. I mean, obviously, it's almost like you pick a movie that everybody would want to rip on. To some extent. Or just be like a fun movie, you know? It end up being like watching the director's commentary on a DVD, but from the viewer's perspective. Yeah, like literally be like, alright, we're gonna watch Big Trouble in Little China on Saturday night. We're starting at 7. and we're just gonna shoot the shit and do our thing while we're all watching that movie. And if you want to talk about the movie or talk about other things, like even just like sometimes you watch a movie, like literally Big Trouble in Little China. When I played soccer as a little kid, that was the end of the year movie. That when we had our little like award ceremony at the theater on the military base in my town, because that's just where it was done. Like, that's the movie we watched. Big Trouble in Little China. It was great. You know, we'd throw like snowcaps at other kids. And maybe like make Shotgun Nerd. But there's also so much great shit in that movie. Shaving Private Ryan. Yeah, and you know, I like the movie, right? But don't need a saw stop tonight. The one thing that I don't like about that movie is the fact that honestly, that movie starts off so good, right? It is, and we talked about this recently, but it starts off as so brutally honest about the carnage, right? And then it literally turns into MacGyver and like a John Wayne movie. And that's fine, I guess. I get it. It almost fits within the genre. But it's like, I don't know. It lost so much when it started turning into, you know, the second half of it, basically. It pulled out every, like, war movie cliche, and it really, it did itself a disservice, I think. That's why, I mean, as far as war movies go, you know, even a movie like The Thin Red Line or Thin Red Line, right? There's a lot of stuff in that movie that you're like, whoa. The worst part of that movie is John Travolta trying to be a general. He sucks. Seriously? Watch that movie. It's a beautiful movie. It has amazing commentary on the futility of mankind's constant struggle, yada, yada, yada. But no, really, it does. But, like, well, and that's the thing. That's why, like, Twitch, you're not going to see the movie, or maybe you'd see it out, maybe in the corner. I don't know. Like, right now, you're not even seeing it. You're seeing the corner of a TV. You really wouldn't see it, but also, here's the thing, right? If we're all watching a movie that we can stream in our region, and we're all watching it at the same time, and even if I showed that movie, the defense would be that we were all watching it at our own area ourselves. That would be a good argument to get around any legal thing. But I think as long as I don't show it, the audio might get cut out a little bit here and there, or cut out the audio, whatever, you know. But I think as long as I'm not, like, kind of doing a rebroadcast, I think it would be able to fly. I mean, because that was literally like, do you and your followers watch movies on it? I'm like, no, but that'd be kind of fun. It's almost like interactive Mystery Science Theater. We got enough wise asses. We're getting close to being pretty good on most of our main pieces. Awesome. Like even right now, what do you have for a streaming service? Do you have a streaming service for movies and whatnot? You have Netflix or? Dude, yeah, seriously. There are plenty of big Y's out. I'm really liking this one. I'm really liking. Once again, it looks supernatural. Supernatural. And you know what the funny thing is? This is what just happened. Okay, I'll figure it out. Yeah, that's like, what do you got on DVD? Or honestly, it doesn't even matter, because if you're anything like me, you know how to watch a movie on a TV if you don't have a streaming service. Am I correct? Or am I correct? Funny enough, it seriously, when I was saying supernatural, I'm like, why doesn't like a makeup company have that as their product line? It's perfect, right? If you were like a Maybelline cosmetic person, and you could just see it, because it's so kind of corny too. Like, wow, her makeup is just, it looks so natural, and it's like, well, what is it? It's the supernatural line. Supernatural line. How good it is. It's magical. Honestly, next big project is getting through this, getting through next week, because the festival is next Saturday and Sunday. So literally, we're almost into Saturday. I'm pretty good with getting this stuff done. I gotta make sure that I get that other stuff done. Labels, tags, table, just everything. But after this, you know, we still got the sword that we could get into. And we also have I want to do some metal work. Still got a guitar to finish too. But I might want to jump out of the wood stuff for a little bit and maybe do a little metal. I was thinking I might even jump in on some motorcycle things. Yeah, Festival Splinters is right. But I've got some. I honestly, I do need to do mostly paint on the bike. Most of what needs to be done on the motorcycle right now is paint and some pieces I need to install. But as far as wood goes, I know I've got plenty of projects, idea-wise, that could be started. Part of it also will be any potential feedback from the festival. Yeah, I mean, I weld, I do metalworking, I do metal sculpture, metal fabrication and stuff, so like, I have an image of a metal sculpture, and it's really simple, that I kind of want to do. So that's something that I kind of want to do, which would be fun to get into. This is like a crazy remix of My Sharona. But yeah, it's like I said, if I'm doing the festival and someone says, hey, you know, if someone wants to buy a piece or do a commission, you know, because that is part of the thing is where, you know, if you want something custom, whatever it may be, I mean, literally, if it's one of my pieces or you have an idea or you want to do a collab or something, well, that all of a sudden becomes work, but it becomes what can also be streaming content, but certainly would take precedent over a fun thing, you know, which is still good. That means almost to some extent, like, I don't know what my next whatever, project will look like after the Festival of Wood. It could be another one of my own projects that I've already thought about, you know, and or talked about with you guys already. Or it could be something that is absolutely not expected. That someone says, hey, would you be able to make this? And I go, I don't know, let's find out. So that's kind of exciting. Those are projects that, to some extent, they're not necessarily few and far between, but they're not as common as a lot of the other more common stuff. But it will be, if something like that popped up, that would be very exciting. Because it just means I don't know, you know? I don't know what the next job's gonna really look like for me. And then all of a sudden, I find myself doing something that I've never really thought about before. Cool. Let's try this. Ooh, that is really purple. You'll be dirtying that up. Wow, this reminds me of one of the very first 40K paint jobs I did. I built a bunch of plastic Space Marines. And I base painted them silver. And I had this really expensive Armory wash ink paint. And I did a good wash on all of them. And they ended up looking like complete shit. Like, just absolutely horrible. And I have them now and I cringe when I look at them. Because it literally looks like I just dunked them. It's so sad. It's so sad. But it also, when I look at that, I kind of go, yep. And now that I know what I'm capable of actually using technique, it's just like, yeah, if I was to compare like first paint job with last paint job, big difference. The transparency on the on this metallic lavender it's not bad. Kind of fun with the silver base, but I do think I'm just gonna put a couple coats on. But yeah, the motorcycle stuff, I gotta mount my rear sets. I gotta paint the gas tank. I gotta paint the side covers. I gotta paint the fairing. There's a lot of painting to be done on that bike. And it would be something that's just been kind of sitting around. Wow, that's kind of, actually, that's pretty pretty. In fact, I wonder if I can just do a little, almost like maybe a little dry brush of the metallic on the back. Just to pick up a little bit of that flake, a little bit of that sheen. Ooh, yeah, it looks good. All right, what do we got? You need to have the shaft painted. How many times has that happened? Metallic lavender. Are you getting in touch with your sensitive side again? It's really a super light purple with metallic in it, but it does look really good on that wand. I mean, I think what will happen, so this is kind of my plan for this stuff is if I get everything painted, right? Base color. Not necessarily detail work, but base color. Literally what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to come in here, right, with the paints and stains and shit that I have in front of me. And I'm going to look at, yeah, so we'll just dry brush this guy with a little bit of gold to pick up a little bit of that metallic. Yeah. So this is actually part of what I'll be doing tomorrow, right? So I'm going to come in with, once I get everything coated up, right? So you'll see, I'll show you in a second exactly what I'm doing here. All right, so obviously we're still working on it, but literally, you know, that's basically just the stain in there or the dye. And we're just going to come and we're going to pop some highlights with similar metallics. And if you really look at it, you'll see it. But when you get further away, it just creates a lot of different layers and texture. I don't know how it will read. It might just look amber. Yeah, it does definitely wash out. So, actually I'll paint that shaft while I have it here. So, yeah, oh my god, no way. Dude, that would not be funny, that would be tragic there. So what I'll do is, I mean, as long as I get all my bold colors, my primary colors, whether it's metallic or glitter or just a solid color or tinting or dyeing, that's my objective, to get all of that done. And then I can come back in and then literally pick up one at a time and do its specific detail work that needs to be done to it. Whether it's just like, this piece needs to be dirty here, or this piece needs, you know, some sort of color, or this piece needs, take your pick, need some glitter. So that will be our last little detail tweak on every single one, and then they're done. So I'm looking at it now. I've got pretty good coverage on most of what I see raw. I've got some that I haven't even touched, but just chipping away. Quality assurance goes, I don't know exactly how well I'm gonna manage with my quality assurance. We're working on it. What is that? That's the copper. lot of that detail work could also just be just dry brushing in a lighter shade of gold on top of a darker shade of gold. It could just be, you know, putting a little bit of that glow-in-the-dark paint on one of them, or applying a tiny little bit of glitter to one little corner or a shadow. So that will be like their last looks before they get the clear. And we'll have to, as far as them even working, I don't know if they're gonna work. That is definitely still gonna be a mystery. That should be a disclaimer in the on the hanging tag that says like, this product is a representation of a magic wand. It contains no real magic properties at all. That could be like, that's my legal disclaimer. Someone's like, yeah, I had a magic wand, I didn't do anything. Like, oh. Sorry, bro. Sorry, brah. But when, I'm not gonna lie, when this very last one is done, I'm gonna feel good. They certainly, as most things go, it's always the finishing that takes the time. The building of things is usually not the time sucker. It's the finishing. That's when things just kind of go brr and slow down. Foul. That's painful. Like you kept asking me about that one with the three or four balls on it. You're like, what's up with that one? Hey, you gonna eat that? You know, the copper on this guy is like kind of transparent. It looks really neat. Certainly not my mom. But let's see. What we got? Pretty good. Pretty good. You know, I got, it's funny, like I got, you know, talking about the motorcycle, like literally, I was jamming on the motorcycle for a while. Thanks, man. Thank you. Was jamming on the bike for a while, and then all of a sudden it just kind of slowed off and started working on other projects. And it happens, you know, it definitely happens. What it is right now, too, is I've got a lot of the real, it sounds kind of almost counterintuitive, but I've got a lot of the big hard things done, and now it's just a lot of the little awkward things to do. So we gotta knock those guys out. And it literally is like, hook up the controls, rebuild the brake. Out the rear sets, paint some exhaust pipe. Cut a gasket in half to match the custom pipe. Blah blah blah. But that's the stuff that you're like, alright, gotta do it. I'm pretty happy with how they are coming out myself, dude. You know, there was a part of me that wasn't really digging how they were looking, and then, but I think honestly, just saying screw it and swapping over to using some acrylic paints to get the looks I'm looking, for, to get what I was looking for. Made a huge amount of just made up for a lot of what I wasn't happy with what I was seeing. God, I need that code browser. And they do look a lot better once they start getting some of the clear coat on it. A lot of the colors, it starts thickening up everything, so even like little blemishes and things like that just kind of disappear in a little bit of sheen and depth. It's cool. And they also are just starting to look a little bit more, I don't want to say realistic, but definitely a little bit more theatrical and less wood. So we could say they look a little bit more real almost, in a twisted fantasy sense, obviously. And some of that's just having a little bit of like texture popping out where it looks a little dirty, it looks a little mucky. And you go, yeah, that could have sat on the shelf. Honestly, it's probably gonna be their parents, right? At first, because I mean, honestly, kids, once kids see something cool or see like a bunch of kids flocking over at something, they're gonna be like, I gotta go check it out. It's like my cat. I can take a paper towel, just, whatever. I can take a ping pong ball, sit on the edge of something, and the cat goes, what is that? And once one cat goes, the other cat's like, I gotta know what it is too. So, I think it will be a couple things. One, parents dragging their kid into the tent to see stuff, right? That they want to see. And then the kid sees that stuff and goes, this is cool. Or dad or mom being like, no, check it out, you know, come on, no, don't worry about it. It's not boring. And then if you get a little herd of kids, then that kind of magnifies. But I don't know. You know, what's the initial draw? It could be the fact that there's a dog next to the booth. I mean, who knows? So it's a hard judge. What's really gonna make it sell? But I don't know. Could be a little. I think it might be a little bit of everything. I did not, but I did buy a bunch more, and I completely agree. I basically bought about 8 metallics and 1 glow in the dark, and it just the nicest thing about it is that it I just want a little bit of this gold here and a little bit of this brown, or the lavender and a little bit of this brown. We're just going to use it as a little bit of a dry brush, which is also, this is what I'll be doing to give everything like a little bit of detail. I just want to play around with it while I got it fresh here. But like, yeah, that's just like making it really start to pop. So we're basically, we're gonna put $50 paint jobs on $10 wands. Which, to me, why not? It is fun. But I did buy a handful of metallics, and the nicest thing about them is I love mixing materials. I like steel and I like metal with woods, and by using these metallics as well as the glitter, Wesley using some glitter, it definitely creates a lot more texture to it. Like this guy right here, he looks very mechanical. We're not done with it yet, but just having that bronze with the wood and the silver shaft that goes all, it really looks like the steering damper on my motorcycle right now. That's what it reminds me of. It does. But it has so much more life than it did yesterday. Yeah, it reads pretty well on camera. I like it. You know, the biggest thing about the Michaels in my area is it's just not really close. Like I said, and you know the funny thing, I was just talking about having like sarcasm in the room. Boop. There it is. Snarkiness. Alright. What do we got? We got some silver balls, we got some gold balls. You know what we don't have? Let's just do this. We'll do like one of every ball on this one. And we'll go dark to light. Or no, we'll do... Yeah, we'll do medium, darkest, medium, lightest. That's the plan of attack. So instead of, once again, following that expectation of going light to dark, let's just skip a step. Let's do something what would not be the expected. That keeps it interesting. The one thing about the metallics though is they do always almost require a couple coats. They're just kind of, if you've ever played with them, they're, well, it's a suspension because it's a oh, actually, you know what? Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's not try that brush. That's not the right brush. Yeah, the Michaels actually isn't that close to me. But the funny thing is about where the Michaels is literally it's a good plaza as far as plazas go, because there's literally like Home Depot's across the street, and in the plaza you have like Joann's, you have a fine art store, like, but it's the size of Michael's. It's like an arts and crafts store, right? Or no, maybe it's not Joann's. So you have the arts and crafts store that's huge. You have Michael's, which is just as big. Then you have some other randoms, and a PetSmart and a Home Goods, right? And then you have Harbor Freight at the other end with like a liquor store next to it. So like, it is kind of, it is pretty good as far as proximity to everything. It's really not bad. So I had decided on this one to do 3 different shades of gray on it. Or sorry, 3 different shades of metallic silver. Basically become grays. And maybe have a little bit of a swirl in the mixes between the blacks and the silvers. That was my 4th down, 0 seconds on the clock decision. And I like it a lot. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. In fact, I think this ring is gonna be, we're gonna do a little bit of the dark silver on the inside. The rest of it is gonna be bright silver. Right? And these little cubes are gonna be black with a little bit of silver dry brush. It's gonna look badass. This is gonna be like some Tesla wand. It already looks like, sorry, but that looks just fucking awesome. And it's so stupid simple, but it is just really, really fun. So like, and when I say it looks awesome, that's not me being like arrogant or egotistical. That is me just really enjoying how that piece looks. I don't care who made it. It's like, yeah, that works. Quantum mermaid tails. Now I'm making complicated things. Alright, so this guy needs something because he's super generic right now. Maybe we'll just use that. Paint the connecting code. You know, the funny thing is though too, like I look at it and I go, oh yeah, it looks super generic. You can't tell with kids. Like, there's kids at a certain age that will pick stuff and you're like, why'd you pick that? And they're like, I don't know. I liked it. But there's no rhyme or reason. It's so weird. You know, it's also where like your studies, as if you were studying like demographics or like, you know, consumer choices, you'd be like, you're not gonna nail it. Because they're that like, I don't know. I just thought it was neat. Fit it in. They just wanted something different. No idea. Hey, what's up, Protein? How you doing, dude? I am working on my final, well, this is pretty much the last remnants of the Festival of Wood build. So I am just doing some painting on the magic wands. Getting them out of the way and done, and then I will be complete of all my building. It'll be very exciting. It's been pretty crazy. How are you tonight? Thanks, man. You know, some of them are really, some of them have really come to life, and we're still, you know, this is like stage 4 of 5. But basically, I just got to get all my base coats down, and then I'll come. Let me just consolidate some of the ones that still need some loving, and then I'll come in and do like just some specific details on every individual one. But they're coming along. Actually, some of these are looking a lot better and funner than I originally had planned. Because, you know, I'm not going to lie, we definitely built these pretty quickly and not with total planning and consideration. Some of them were like, let's just make another one. Let's make another one, you know? Random assemblies and whatnot. So, when some of them are really looking neat, it's that little, the plus. And hopefully if they look ugly on the creation side, or on the mechanical side, we can make it look better with the finish and the paint. Even though some of these do look like this literally looks like the steering dampener on my motorcycle right next to me. And you know, I know Caliber's been salivating over this guy right now, but I think for magic wands for kids, I think they'll work pretty well. Yeah, how hard was it doing the replacement on that bag? It seemed to me that would be one of those tasks that, if you did it when, you know, obviously you're retrofitting it, but it seems to me like it's one of those tasks that once the bag's completed, getting to that detail is like a few steps before the bag is done. So you kind of gotta, I don't know, dig in, cut out. I mean, was it a pain? Is that what it's called? But I'm really, really happy with my kind of last minute decision to buy a bunch of different colors to play around with, because it is definitely changed the appearance of a lot of these guys, where I wasn't completely happy with what I was seeing on my end. In fact, so I'm gonna leave. Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a base on this guy, just of some silver, because I think this one might even. I've got that pearlescence paint, so I might even come and hit this guy with some pearlescence when we go and finish him up. Oh, he's fine. So, let's see. Let's get the rest of these bear treated ones. Actually, at this point, I'm looking pretty good. I'm almost thinking that by 10 o'clock, I'm going to be done with all of my bases. I'm pretty excited if I am. I figure if I was figuring out, the way I figure it, I would say, and this is one of those things where you go, alright, realistically, how much time do you spend on each individual wand? Like, once we're past this stage, right, we would have spent, let's just be conservative and say 10 hours on doing the paint finish on these guys. So you say, all right, let's do 10 minutes on each one for our final look, final details, right? Whether we're doing highlights or dry brushing or you know, a little bit of detail, maybe some glow in the dark, maybe some glitter, but we say 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Let's say 10. Let's say 10. We got 30. 30 of them though. So that's where you do that number and you go, okay. If we do 10 minutes on each one, we'll get, you know, 6 done in an hour. But there's 30 of them. So literally you're looking at that and you're like, that's 5 hours right there. Oh, that's a lot of work. Oh, that's a lot of time. And it doesn't take long to add up. So those are those things where you go, man, yeah. You know, literally to sell these guys, to work out for hours wise, I don't know. You know, the benefit is we're doing a bunch of them. And honestly, like I said, you know, when we got into these in the very beginning, these are honestly all of the pieces that I've made. It's not about none of the work that I have made for this Festival of Wood is about profiting. And I say that just because I know what it's taken me, but I also know I didn't go into, I'm like muttering here, I didn't go into this Festival of Wood with the purpose of making money as a business. I honestly, a huge amount of it is it's just something to do. It's an objective. It's almost to some extent like a challenge because my friend kind of, I don't want to say she put me up to it, but she kind of did. So there's a little bit of that to it as well. It's kind of fun. But if I'm looking at, look, that means tomorrow is literally almost 20 more hours. What, 20 more hours? Maybe 6 more hours of painting. Now, it will all get faster because even just now, as I'm looking at this, when I say, oh, okay, these gold the gold knobs in the back for the wand, perfect highlight is that antique gold. So that brings a lot of life to it. Now that means, knowing that, do I end up spending 15 minutes or 10 minutes on it? Nah. I spend a lot less because I've already created or I've already figured out what looks really sexy on the back of that. So maybe I only am spending 5 minutes on each one. But you never know. I might get stuck on something and be like, I don't know what to do on that one. It hasn't spoken to me yet. Alright. Damn, we're close though. Even on this one, I'm almost thinking that I want to, maybe we do these little intermediary balls. Maybe we do them in those shades of gray again. Spice it up, don't go completely the same, but they might not look that bad. And, you know, I've definitely been doing festival back-end / front-end work on this too, so there's a chance I might be able to tweak in some last-minute piece for it. We'll see. There's a difference between me wanting to really, challenge myself and or just enjoy it a little bit more. But there's still I still have a lot of logistic stuff. Alright. Wow. Actually, I am... Actually, looking at the 0. I have no idea. It's tough because, to be honest, these to me, like, if let's put it this way, if I'm in the booth and I see some kid that's like, maybe not the, so the event itself is free for all ages, free for everybody, right? You just go and you go. So it's free entertainment, which means not everybody that's there is there to buy stuff or to pay for things. It's, they're there to take part in something that doesn't cost them anything. So it's like, yeah, there's a value, right? Whatever. Maybe you're just gonna take your kids to go watch chainsaw carving. I don't know. But like, honestly, if I'm in the tent or whatever, and I see some kid really like one, and then if you look and you're like, parents are like, nah, we can't or whatever, I'm probably just gonna give them one. I don't give a fuck. Like, to me, if I gave a kid a wand for free that I made in my garage, and it made that kid's day, and maybe their parents' day, and it's just a good thing to do for being a human being, then yeah. I mean, if I walk out of here, if at the end of the day and I'm walking out and I only have 5 left in the jar, and I see 4 kids on my way out, I'm gonna give them to them. That's just me, Like I said, this is not somebody getting rich doing this stuff at a festival. So if by giving one away made some kid's day, now I'm not a nice guy. I just sometimes, no, but like literally, let's put it this, it's like, think of it this way, right? Say you have a friend and you have a skill, right? Like, well, you're an armorer. Okay, you were an armorer in the army. And so I would imagine, depending on what level armorer you were, if the Army works the same way the Marine Corps does as far as armorers, I would imagine you could probably, if someone handed you a bunch of parts, right, for an AR, you could probably put it, and I don't just mean like standard disassembly, I mean like mounting the barrel to the upper receiver, mounting like your buffer tube and all of that with your stock and the receiver, really build it from parts, right? I bet you could probably do that. Now here's the thing, if a buddy of yours was like, hey man, I just bought an AR kit, I really don't know much, I'm kind of nervous about building it, would you help me out, right? Now, the way I work at something in a situation like that, yeah, dude, seriously, hammering a screwdriver is pretty much, like, it is nice to have a locking or a torque wrench on the locking rings for the barrel to the upper receiver and all that. It's, you kind of want to know that. And you might want to gauge to measure out, like, headspace and shit. But, whatever. But yeah, it doesn't take that much. But like, I look at some of those things where if a buddy of mine or a friend of a friend asks me to do a favor like that, those are the favors that, like, it's like, don't offer me money, right? Don't offer me money, because the amount of money that you're probably going to want to offer me is not even close to what the job requires or what would cost, right? So I'll do a favor for somebody that costs $500, or like that would cost $500, but I don't want 200, right? Give me a case of beer, you know? If I break down on the side of the road on my motorcycle, come and pick me up, you know? Just be a good person. So for something like this, I kind of look at those in the same way. And honestly, this is in my community. You know, this is in my county. Let's you know, we'll be a good person for an afternoon. We'll make up for all those times I cut somebody off. Yeah, right? Don't give me money. It's gonna go away. But no, I mean that's like I said, me making these were an afterthought. These were never about the idea of the initial thing in the first place. They weren't even a part of it. So making these aren't even, I don't even think, put it this way, I look at these like I'm making party favors. These don't feel like I'm making sales items. It feels more like I'm making party favors so people have a good time. That's how it feels. But yeah, if I'm walking out and I see a kid, you know, or whatever, and honestly, that makes you feel better yourself. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to be Willy Wonka? I mean, come on. Like, everyone wants to be superstars by being like everybody adoring them, and it's like, you can be a fucking superstar by making somebody's day for an afternoon. And a case of beer. Although I won't lie, when you give away something cool, sometimes there is that like, damn, I just gave away something awesome. You know, you're like, somebody else would have paid for that. Oh well, and let it go. You know, that's all you do. Do it and walk away and don't turn around and just be like, yep, did it, done. It's one of those things, like, maybe it's because I remember one day when I was a kid, right? So let's see, where was I when this happened? I probably, if I had to guess, I would say I was 6 years old. No. 5 years old, in Connecticut, probably just moved there. Strip mall, IGA's grocery store, little craft shop next to the IGA. I have a bad photographic memory. Car was a 1969 Plymouth Satellite convertible blue, white vinyl seats, black top at the time. Had an AM radio with scrolling dials. Never got any station, so we used to have a little single mono speaker FM radio that would sit in the seat. Car didn't come with seat belts. That was an option that my dad put in. I didn't spray it again last night. Oh wait, did I? Maybe a little. I'll grab it in a second. But like I remember I was a little kid and I walked. My mom was going to the craft store. She was going in, and a guy was coming in around the same time, and I stopped and I held the door open for him. Right? What you do when you're a kid and you have manners. So, whatever. Open the door. He goes in, does his thing, and on his way out, he stops and he goes, "Here," and he hands me like a button because the store had buttons. And it was a little button that said like kids are special people too, right? And it was like in different colors and kind of cartoony, whatever. My mom probably has it still. It's probably like in her little keepsake chest somewhere. But what was it? It was a complete stranger recognizing that a kid opened a door for an adult going into the store, right? And he bought me a button from the store. And I remember I had it and I wore it around for a week or two. Or still wear it on my leather jacket when I'm riding my motorcycle at Hell's Angels rallies. You know, it's like almost like a 1% badge at that point. There's nobody that is understanding what I'm saying right now on the channel. But anyway, it was just like a really nice thing for a stranger to do that made me feel really good. And I'm 42 years old and I still remember that moment. So if in my life I can recreate little moments like that for somebody else and not be like a creepy pedophile, let's just put that out there, then that's cool. That makes somebody's day. You know? I saw in New York City, I saw a guy who was like transient homeless, young guy, probably should have a fucking job, let's be serious, but he had a dog with him. I look at that, I'm like, that sucks for the dog. It's not the dog's fault that his owner is a guy who probably has problems. Whatever. Go in the store, buy a bag of fucking dog bones, come out and give it to the dog. Why? It's a nice thing to do. It's not the dog's fault, you know? If more people, I think, did stupid shit like that, we'd have less people angry and pissed off at everybody. The Warhammer's looking really, really cool. That's my ramble for tonight. I spent most of this afternoon fuming against ignorance in Somalia. True story. Yeah. Welcome to my world, people. I'll grab the sword. This is where it like gets dark. It does not mean I still won't drive my car like an asshole sometimes. It's gonna happen. I apologize in advance. If you're going 35 in a 35, I'm gonna hate you. And I might be on your ass. So the hammer, the biggest thing about the hammer though is what it's doing right now is, like I said, I don't know if it does or not, but it just feels like it is. It feels like it's, darkening up. It's really weird. And I don't know if it's just because maybe the shellac settles in or something. I don't know. I'll grab it in a second. Give me 1 second here. I just want to I'm just kind of sneaking in a few of these little details that I'll be doing tomorrow as well. But basically, I'm just gonna take a little bit of this darker bronzy copper, so you can see there's like a solid transition between this gold and that metallic amethyst. So I'm taking brush with a little thin bit, and I'm literally just wiping it up into the corner, the joint, and blending it out, and that just works as a little bit of a forced shadow on that scene there. Faking the funk. But it will make all of this have more dimensions than it does right now. And it makes it look old. Okay, so just kind of distressing it a little bit. But this is also more of the stuff that we're gonna come in and do tomorrow. And yeah, I might just come in during the afternoon and do it, or yeah, cause I'm not. Tomorrow's gonna be yard work. But you can see now that it should have a little bit more of a transition between the balls. And if there's shiny shit there, we're gonna take that down too. But yeah, I am really, I'm almost at that like detailed dry brush stage. Couple little more things to do. Yeah, and what do you guys think? I don't know, were you in the room last night, Caliber, when we were talking about the whole pistol thing and how my friend wanted to make it? She said it shouldn't just be a raffle. She said she's like turn it into a game. What do you think about an idea like that? So it's like, it kind of evens out the chances for everybody. It makes it kind of a little bit more interactive than just being passive. Or Arts too, what do you think? You guys are in the room a lot to know. And this is going to be my own personal one, I think. I also think I'm almost at the end of my evening early. So yeah, this is, I think this is gonna be my personal wand for sure. Yeah, so that's We're gonna wear it out and get a little bit more rustic, but I am really digging that. Alright, so let's get it. Oh, yeah, so Caleb, are you there right now? I'll show you the axe. Because, like I said, it's weird. They kind of have a tendency to darken up a little bit as they rest. Let's see, I'll show you. So let me just grab it. Nice thing is I can start handling it a lot. So, I don't know, it feels definitely darker than it did last night. They all seem to like darken a little bit. I don't know if it's just because it's absorbing it, or even just like, to some extent, like once I know the shellac is cured enough, I start handling the hell out of them, because literally just by handling it and rubbing glitter onto it, but just by handling it, you actually end up flattening the shellac, because the shellac's still soft, so it's dry to the touch, but it's because it's literally like a resin. It will still flatten out and smooth out. So literally just by handling it, you kind of compress it. So if you got like spray or brush strokes or anything, a lot of that just starts to go away. So that's the axe now as it stands. Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so what do I got? Man, I'm seriously almost at the stage where I need to, we knew we were gonna do these guys black, so let me get that black India out. We're gonna do that. Gonna dig around. See what we got here. Pull these guys in. Glitter. I was joking about it. I'm like, I like to call my glitter metallic flake. Seems a little bit more. That seems a little bit more appropriate to call it metallic flake than glitter. But it is glitter. Alright, so what do we got? Let's see here. That's not that bad. Because we are literally, I'm pretty much at that stage where it's just grab the piece, play around with it, see how it looks, which is not much of what I'm going to be getting into tonight. That gives me a nice, almost 10 o'clock. Gives me a little bit of a break. Oh shit. Alright, so you saw the axe though. Or the hammer. The hammer. Keep calling it axe. So, let's see. I think I got more standoffs. As long as I don't want to forget any that I haven't messed around with. Like this guy needs some love. Yeah, actually, I'll bring out the axe. Bring out the axe! Bring out the hammer! They are looking pretty badass. I'm really digging them. Yeah, no, I caught that. I caught the whole chat froze. You know, though, I didn't see a Discord. Let's see. Oh, by the way, there's a couple guys in here tonight that I haven't seen before. Taishante, maybe? I might have killed that name. Welcome, and I want to say, wow, that could be Wops, but it could also be a cool way of saying whoop-ass. It totally could be whoop-ass in a weird way of spelling. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of hoping it is whoop-ass, because that's fun. But welcome. Welcome. How are you guys tonight? Let's see. So I need to do some gradients on this guy. So let's get a little bit more of some silver. And we'll just dab a little black in there. I'm going to use that on a couple other things too. So we'll put some gradients on this. I don't mind playing around with the same kind of concepts that we're, you know, mixing gradient silvers and grays on this one and doing it on this. That's fine. I don't mind repeating a convention or something because one, this is so dramatically different than the other, it doesn't even make a difference. That, and even now I'm like, so I didn't mix the silver and the black together perfectly. Like literally there's still little bits of banding in, this is some Bob Ross shit right here, so I hope everybody's paying attention. It's Bob Ross. You ever watch Bob Ross? Sometimes he'll have 3 lines of paint lined up and he'll just go boop, and there's a little bit of that paint on each different section of the brush. But what you can do with that is you can actually create some really cool marbleization. Because you get 3 different distinctive bands. So yes, we are Bob Rossing this happy little band of beads on a magic wand right now. And whether it really reads or it's something that somebody sees and goes, damn, I don't know. But I get to do it.
Hey Clubbers, noi
So that's cool.
e questo è il podcast dedicato all'evento Omei Club del 25 gennaio. Ma questo non sarà un podcast come tutti gli altri.
Yeah, man.
L'anno con una novità
This Festival of Wood, Magic Wands.
le grandi imprese del nostro prossimo ospite. Bensì sarà proprio lui in prima persona a presentarsi con un'intervista in esclusiva per Omei Club.
That's it, man. And this is all. These I'm not gonna lie. Some of these I'm like, damn, that is really, really awesome. I'm super stoked with how it's coming out. Yeah, these are all honestly. It's some dowels, mostly dowels, and a couple little knob ends for some of them, like maybe like a half and half almost, and just some pre-made beads. I think I bought like a big bin of beads that I'll probably never use. Most of them, it was like $4 for like a tub of pre-made beads. So yeah, like this right now, oh, it's got so much like. See, so the nice thing about at least even just having the. None of these wands look clean, okay? Like, they don't look sterile, right? Like, they don't look like they came out of a bag. They're not even just quality-wise. If you look at them, there's some, you can see there's some blemishes and some are a little bit bent, right? The paint jobs or the stain job, you can see like, wow, it's a little bit worn there, or, and I don't mean like you can see through it, but it looks used, it looks propish. That's a proper term to use, which is really, really fun. Which one? Which one? Far right one. Alright, so this, we're still working on him. So we're basically, we're coming back and forth on all of these and doing just more detail work.
Sappiamo che molti ragazzi prendono ispirazione da te per interpretare la carriera da DJ, ma tu Raziel, da chi sei stato ispirato?
This guy?
C'è qualche artista che per te è stato un esempio da seguire? Beh, sì, sicuramente. Dirò la verità.
Yeah, he's crazy. It's just different. So we're coming in basically and we're just layering more texture, more paints for detail and even just to get some stuff to pop. And doing some shading, doing some highlights, doing some washing, just kind of making them look like their own piece. It's, you know, the funnest thing about this is it's like, when I was making it, there's that idea like, what is a magic wand supposed to look like? You know, like, really, what does a magic wand look like? Like, we've all seen magic wands in movies, right? We know what the convention of a magic wand is supposed to look like, right? But why does it have to be like that? So let's mess around with it. We're just gonna darken up this guy a little bit. And the fun, honestly, the fun thing is like this kind of technique, this paint techniques and all of the stuff I'm doing, it's no different than if you're distressing a piece of cosplay or, you know, making a model. Like literally I could be painting this on a model, right? I'm just gonna take a little bit of black paint, rub it around that seam right there, take off the rest of it mostly, or maybe even just switch a brush, and I'm just gonna like do a little blend. Boop, right? Nothing fancy, nothing difficult. All we're doing is we're putting a little bit of paint in there and we're brushing it out. And what do we get? We get a nice dirty seam. Right? That's all it takes. No, dude, don't worry about it, man. No, none of these are done yet. Although I do like this wand. This is a little bit more in the traditional sense of a wand. I do really like this. This is going to be my personal wand for the festival, I think. But there is something I like about this. And honestly, really what it is, that I mean, even this one, I do kind of like that too. This reminds me of electricity. Actually, all of them have some sort of semblance. Yeah, well, you know, the thing is because I was keeping them all natural. I'm like, oh, you can keep them all natural, and I was mostly trying to stick around with the stains and the dyes and everything. And then after a certain point, I'm like, there's no reason why I need to. I've got enough natural things that painting these, if they look better painted for kids, I don't care if I hide a little bit of the wood look to them. I don't care. I mean, and I'm using pre-manufactured beads and stuff too, so it's not like, oh, I need you to see that I turned a bead. No, I glued a bead on a dowel. That's how simple it is. Yeah, and also by doing the staining and painting on them, you know, even ones that are slightly similar in their design, if I change the paint scheme on it somewhat, you know, it doesn't even have to be a lot, that changes the overall appearance as well, really quickly. So, but right now, I just want to hit, I'm probably not going to stream much later. I just want to hit a few of the glaring details that need to be tweaked a little bit that I'm seeing on a couple of them. And it's mostly a couple sitting right next to me that need a little bit of work. But honestly, the biggest thing that I like about this one right now is that it does really, it goes against the convention of what a magic wand is supposed to look like, right? Like, what's a magic wand supposed to look like? And there, my friends, is how you, so literally, knob on the back, put a wash of black on it, kept it wet, wipe it off, right? Brush is dry, put some silver on it, take off most of that silver, so all we have is a little bit of metallic on there. And I'm not going to brush it much, I'm just going to, this is dry brushing, because your brush is mostly dry. Standard technique. And we'll just pick up those highlights. Same thing up here, pick up some highlights with that. And now we get a nice, dirty looking handle that all the grooves and notches on that are kind of filled in with a dark paint, or dark color. Take a little bit of that. Yeah, and honestly, you know, the biggest thing, and I was talking about this before, one of the things that really, that I do like about, and I was saying how, like, so, I really like this ones because of how natural it looks. You know, it's got this really dark burgundy in here, underneath some black and some dirty silver, and we're still working on it. But the whole wood shaft looks dirty, but it looks really organic and natural, right? So that's cool. I like that. That to me is like, all right, cool. Maybe that's, you know, a wand of a wood elf. Whatever. Druid. Take your pick, right? But then, you know, we're still working on this one. This one, to me, screams like electricity. And why? Well, I'm mixing metal, you know, orbs in a line, ingredients. They look metallic. They've got a sheen to it. It's got this other little thing going on here. We're working on that still. So to me, this to me, it's like electricity. It's a mix of metal and wood, which I love. Design-wise, I love that. But in a fantasy sense, to me, like, if there was a wand that was like a lightning bolt wand, this would be it. This would be like the Tesla wand, where I'm gonna blast somebody. Because it reminds me of, just style-wise. Yeah, no, they're turned, or they're probably pressed. But literally, These are not turned. These are all component built. Like, I bought a bunch of bulk beads for all of the little components. There's like, you know, in the box, maybe 8 different types, maybe 10 different types of beads. You know, 3 different sizes, 4 different sizes. Some are square, some are ribbed, some are little cubes, some are more cylindrical, and then different materials. So I bought a bulk, like a bulk assortment of beads. Yeah. So, and this is honestly because we wanted to make these as fast as we could, because these are, in my mindset, there's still like a party favor aspect to them. So I didn't want to spend a ton of time making them. Not a ton of time. Enough time that we actually got glitter. So, but some are going to still require a fair amount of work to get them into a happy spot. But honestly, if you're gonna make a wand, I think the idea of you making a wand for your little sister, or is that what you said, your little sister, or your sister? Seriously, as a brother kind of thing to do, that's awesome.
I ragazzi erano strapresi a bene, ogni volta dopo lo show, foto, addirittura autografi e cose del genere, anche erano presi a bene.
Dude, I'm serious, man. Like, there is glitter. It doesn't sound funny, but like, I took my pants off before I climbed on my couch last night and put my feet up, because I knew if I didn't, it was gonna be everywhere. I gotta put some bass on that. Let's do a black.
Ho notato che qui in Europa, cioè a livello musicale, se suoni dubstep, drum and bass,
Oh shit, okay.
vanno molto più a bene
Either way, dude.
di quanto succede in America, nel senso ho notato che in America
Still a nice thing to do.
oppure electro house, cassa dritta, insomma, comunque le reazioni, cioè nel senso, non voglio dire sono meglio gli americani o meglio gli europei, spaccano, cioè spacca, situazioni che spaccano il culo, sia lì, situazioni di merda sia lì, come
Alright, is this guy just rambling on in French in this soundtrack that's going on right now?
Situazioni di merda qui anche, insomma, quindi non ho notato sta, cioè non posso dire America è meglio di qua oppure qui è meglio di là, insomma.
That's in the detail aspect. So, this is all like, we're working on our finish, like the general finish of them. But then I'm going to come in with a smaller brush and play around a little bit more, where I want to do some pseudo symbols, nothing too crazy. I don't want to, you know, I don't want people to be like, you're worshiping the devil, boy. But I definitely will play around with a little bit of that. I started messing around on the backs of some of them with just like a little bit. So that's definitely in the mix. So you are on the same page as me as far as playing around with different aspects. But even if it's just like a little zigzag or a swirl or whatever, it's something. I don't know if you were in here earlier, but I've also just gonna tarnish up this guy a little bit. Just wash a little muddy brown on him, or muddy black on him almost. That's a little bit. We'll give it the sense that it's got a little bit of curvature to it. and I don't want these things to look. I don't want.
Invece qualche
If it looks painted and it doesn't look used, to me, I go, eh.
perché
You know, it's like I remember when
pensiamo
they started filming Lord of the Rings. When we're talking a long time ago, right now, right?
Praticamente
But when they started filming it,
ricollego questo al momento peggiore.
basically the second they had like Viggo Mortensen's costume done, and part of this could be Hollywood mythology, but like the second they had it done, he was like, can I get it now? And I want to start wearing it, and like he just started wearing it and camping out in it and shit like that, because that's what it does. If a costume piece looks like a costume piece, then it's a bad costume piece. But I don't know if you caught in there. I've got clear UV/glow in the dark paint. So I'm gonna play around on some of these, probably most of them, and even if it's just like a little bit that I go and some dots or a little swirl on one of the globes or a little something on the back. Maybe I'll put my logo on the back of my glow in the dark paint. So I got some of this to play with. Anyway, we'll see. As it stands right now, I have almost got my base on everything, which means I'm about to go make myself some dinner. We'll see. But I am thinking, I'm seriously thinking about doing a miniature paint session and just using, honestly, the cheapest tube paints that I could find that are like 97 cents a bottle, and some ghetto paintbrush pack, which I already have, and just to do it, you know. I'm a last minute entry or acceptance or whatever you want to call it. Well, both. To in my area, they do a festival of wood, and at the festival, it's a festival of wood. So you've got vendors, you've got woodcutters, you've got all sorts of stuff. So I'm bringing some of my artwork, some of my more conventional pieces. Yeah, dude, you could totally ask. And I'm gonna be bringing magic wands and my axe and my sword and the blasters and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna bring the fantasy weapons as well as my traditional kind of mid-century modern artwork pieces. So that is what all of this will be for the Festival of Wood. Next weekend. So this was not this was a very last minute event that I got kind of hooked into. Hey, I said yes to doing it, but I've been building like a madman for 2 weeks now.
Espanderti sempre più.
Sì, esattamente, piano piano si cresce, insomma.
Well, it's, the thing is it's like, it's only one aspect of it. See, that's the thing, is like, have you seen any of the other work that I've done, Razor? Have you seen like any of the art pieces that I've done? Or that I do? I've got my regular like the blasters and things like that. Those are still in the fun category. Alright, so you've seen like the art, like not the weapons and the gaming stuff, but I streamed a fair amount of my little bit more, well, they're more like decor almost, like a decor art piece. So I don't know if you've seen any of those, because I've done those on the streams as well. But I haven't, most of those were worked on the earlier ones. So like my clocks, or like the little sculptures with the color panels and everything like that. I'll just show you, actually, it's easier. So, there's like art pieces like this, right? That's kind of, you know, it's more decor, it's art decor. Still made out of scrap wood for the most part, right? So there's things like that. And then there's things like this clock. Same, you know, same concept. This is kind of some of my style, right? And that's copper movement, you know, or copper on the movement panel, and, you know, oak and my own custom dye jobs and stuff. So you have things like that.
Più che altro di cominciare a suonare uno strumento reale, cioè perché quello aiuta tanto. Io suono la chitarra da quando ho 12 anni e anche quello mi ha aiutato un sacco per le produzioni, eccetera, no?
Anche io mi ricordo quando hai suonato alla Parade, che con Zomboy si parlava che c'è...
So, I have things like that, and some other things that's definitely more parent-oriented. If I had to call it anything, that's more of a parent-style piece, right? More adult. You're buying artwork. You're not, you know, you're not seeing it as a toy. Yeah, so that's like the art stuff, right? But for the festival, it's both. And I thought, because I was doing the fun stuff, like the axes and all of, you know, what I consider like the fun builds, they're all fun. I like it, I enjoy all of it. But if I was doing those things, let's make something for the kids for the festival as well as for the parents. Because, you know, kid may think that looks neat, and you're like, oh, that's cool, but like, not the same kind of attention that you're gonna get for something else, like the blaster, or even these little wands or something like that. So we're just kind of playing with both. So I figured it's a family event, and if I'm gonna do it, let's do it for everybody and make it fun. And to some extent, I don't know, you know, if anybody else is. I know the person who's making butcher blocks is not catering to kids. Just saying. And those pieces should be in a gallery. They are definitely more art than decor, but we'll see. Those were also like really, really fast builds, and it was kind of like, that was a little bit of a challenge, you know? How many pieces can I make in a short amount of time? And the fun part about this is I get to actually, like, literally I get to go in and do some fun highlights and some shading, play with some colors, play with some dirt, you know, and make a fun little magic wand. dude, it really is. You know, or even just to some extent how fleeting interest can be, right? Where like the phases that a kid goes through, where like there's that moment where they're like, I love it, I love it, I love it, and they're like, yeah, I'm done. And it was that was last week. Last week you were all about things. Reminds me of some girlfriends I've had. You know, like, what happened? You loved me last night, and this morning you hate me. Yeah, I had a weird dream. True story. Actually, I was broken up by someone because they had a weird dream. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I like to think I dodged a big bullet. Wait, don't date actresses. Make it a rule, everybody. Yeah, I had a dream you were gone and you're still here. Damn it. No, don't date actresses. That's a thing. You know, it's one of those things where, so being in the industry or certain industries, like I've been around models and whatnot, and when people are like, oh, I'm like, no. I'm like, you don't want any part of that. Not, at least, honestly, not while they're still working. Like, don't even bother. Don't even bother. Just a warning. I know it might sound bad, but seriously, don't. Don't even. If you don't believe me, call me in a year. Let me know. No, it's not between between a food and a piece of food, man. It's get beneath or get between a model, a pack of cigarettes, and a bottle of vodka. Just saying. You know, I love just a little bit of, like, just seeing a little bit. So we're basically base coat copper, right? And, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Base coat copper, and while the copper is still wet, we basically, you know, you probably, I'm not dropping in completely like miniature style, but literally put a little bit of wet black paint on here, run it around, and just kind of daub it out. Let it dry. Come back with a little bit of dry brush with the same copper, right? Because we kind of muddled the rest of this up. So most of that copper is slightly contaminated with some black. So it looks a little bit darker. Now we can come back in with some copper once it's dry and give it a little quick dry brush. And it's gonna pop up all those little sharp edges. And it's gonna give us like 3 layers and then some. So, but this guy is almost entirely done with the exception of, I'm just gonna paint those cubes completely black. And some of these paints are ancient. Some of these paints, in fact, Razor, some of these paints are probably about as old as you. True story. I threw out one last night, but like literally some of these paints are probably from the late 90s. And last night I did come in, or actually earlier today, and I took one of these. What paint goes on wood? Magic paint. Dude, 88? Oh my god, dude. You guys are babies. Make a bunch of wooden pacifiers for you. Damn, dude. I don't even want to hear it, Razor. You're gonna be like, I was born in 96. '88? Oh, you know what's great? Here you go, Caliper. You remember Die Hard? How well do you remember Die Hard, Caliper? Do you remember Special Agent Johnson? And Special Agent Johnson? Yeah, dude, wooden pacifiers for all you babies out there. Do you remember Special Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson? Because if you do, I have the perfect response for your 1988, taken out of context, but still from Die Hard. Yeah, well, all I will say is, I was in junior high, dickhead. That's 88, man. Junior high, 1988. Oh man, 90s shit. Oh man, I totally. All right, so we gotta get some. We gotta get some. This is raw. How did I forget you? Actually, you know what I'm at right now? I'm at a stagnant point where I need like a good movie to watch. I just cranked out a couple seasons of some stuff and I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, right, you're doing some carving. So what are you looking at doing now? Shop class for me in high school wasn't anything great. I liked my shop teacher. Actually, I didn't have shop. Let me just backtrack there. I didn't have shop class in high school. I only had shop class in junior high, and wow, that's relevant. And it might have only been 7th grade due to budget cuts. But I do remember having Mr. Lambert as my shop class teacher, missing a finger. This sounds like some knockoff. This sounds like some knockoff Lady Gaga. You're lucky, man. Well, and that's the thing is it's like it's when if you don't recognize its purpose, and I think a lot of that is it doesn't if you don't know how to reach somebody, like I thought when I was in college, right? One of my favorite college professors, this older gentleman, and he's a brilliant man. But what he was really, really, really good at was making you see the connection between history, and we're talking like history, not 100-year-old history. We're talking like Western civilization history, right? So he was really good about creating connections between history and present time, and maybe with something that you've actually experienced, right? So like he would go around and he would ask people questions about where they've traveled, where they've been, what they've seen. And then he would really quickly, because he was freaking smart, create like a through line to how it relates to what he's teaching, right? And that connects you to it as an audience, as a learner, or whatever. It almost makes you a little bit more personally vested in it because it's not so foreign anymore. There's a little bit more of you know what, I can touch it because I've been there, instead of just telling you about it. Dirty. I like it dirty. They look great when they get dingy, you know? Even like some of these little stained globes and orbs, I'm like, too clean. Thank you for that follow, whoever that was. I'll see it in a second. I got a little bit of a delay, but thank you for that. I do appreciate it. You know, it's just, the thing is too, is like just coming in and even literally just wiping a little bit of wet black paint on these, right? Just a little bit. Just creates just a tiny bit more of, you can call it believability, call it whatever you want, but it just creates a little bit more happening where things don't look as synthetic as they might. Even if you're wiping off most of it, but like right now, we're gonna go and we're gonna play around with the blues on this guy. We're gonna play around with some of the other colors. You know, maybe even add a little glitter. But all in all, I like it looking kind of, I think metal should look kind of heavy, right? And if it looks perfect, it looks light. It doesn't look heavy. Oh man, that sucks, dude. Is that an eye? Damn it. Kyle Moons, thank you for the follow. I'm sorry if I brutalized your name, but thank you for that follow. We are working on some wands for our Festival of Wood coming up on the weekend, next weekend, not this one, not tomorrow, but next weekend. So we're just doing a little bit of detail work on those guys, on these guys, just making them come to life. This is our last bit of building for the festival. We've got some art pieces and some furniture and whatnot. We've got these obviously ginormous swords and axes, or mostly just axes and hammers, as well as some heavy blasters in a Star Wars type style. Also for the show. So these are for the kids. Although I think if I saw them, even being an adult, I would be like, that's cool. And I'm going easy on the glitter tonight, not using really any of it. We'll use some tomorrow. But I did go and spray one of my previously made ones with some shellac, and I think it's doing pretty well. Yeah, you said you had some cedar, some raw cedar that you're gonna carve. That's great. Most of the wood that I have some trees that have come down, but most of the stuff I have isn't that, it's not the best quality of wood to be playing around with for making stuff. There's also just, if I'm doing furniture or whatnot, I need it to be aged a little bit or kiln dried, and that just takes up a fair amount of time. And space. I'm actually getting a little bit of a head start doing this stuff because this is definitely stuff I wasn't planning on doing tonight, which is kind of good. Means I got to an even better spot than I planned. Yeah, we had crazy tree falls this past winter. I don't know where you're at, but I'm up in the Northeast. Not far, not New England Northeast, but right at the bottom of it. And we had a ton of trees come down this winter. There's still a lot of debris on the side of the roads from them getting chopped up. If you see me doing that, what I'm doing is I'm just wiping off some of this acrylic that I'm putting on. It's pretty thin, right? So literally, I'm just holding my hand as like the guide in between the seam and any of the raised surfacing, and I'm literally just wiping off most of it. Not a lot, just a little bit. But that's, if you see me doing that, that's what I'm doing. Basically using my hand as like a wiping rag, just to knock off some of the excess shadow paint. And I do need to let these guys sit for a little bit because they are going to be getting, they're going to get poly on top of everything. So I'll go and spray poly on it, and after about 2 days, these guys are going to be off to the side, untouchable for a couple days at least, just while everything sets up. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, cedar? Yeah, I think cedar's, I think you get cedar all the way in like south. Don't you get southwestern cedars too? I mean, maybe it's a totally different type, but I almost want to say I've seen a cedar in like right on the tail of the desert almost. Maybe? I don't know, maybe it's a crack. Okay. Yeah, I could have sworn I've seen some in even like, you know, Southwest. But it's like, you know, is it like pine trees where, you know, there's tons of pine trees. The pine trees that we have where I live are not like the pine trees I grew up with. Whoa! Great, now I got glitter in my crotch. New caliber, dropping the knowledge. What did you learn today? I learned about trees. And a bunch of other randomness. This is awesome. Randomness is good. Like, it's just for being able to remember good randomness. Dude, I know. Let it in my crotch. Where have you been? Been in the garage. Lies. Lies you tell me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really liking how dingy some of these really look right now. They look super dingy, which makes them look, in my mind, super real. Alright, I'm just gonna do a quick walkthrough and see what I got. So yeah, like this guy got some polyurethane. He got polyurethane It got poly earlier on half of it, and I just want to make sure that it hardens nicely with the combo of paint that we're using, or paints and dyes and finish. And it pretty much is. So I'm pretty confident that it's going to set up nice and hard. But as it stands right now, I've got all of them have color. All of them, and by color I mean if there aren't any bare pieces, like we know we're going to be coming back and doing some detail work on this. I can see right now, even right here, there's some serious ugliness going on, and it's just a little bit of paint bleed, like a little bit of bubble on it. But we'll go and we'll make all of those pieces disappear. Kind of got a head start on it right now, but we'll take care of the rest of them and really tighten up all of these. And you know what, I may come in tomorrow afternoon and just bang out what I need to do and be done with it. Because this weekend is yeah, exactly, in the doghouse with Sergeant Hollywood. That's it. Yeah, that's the Thursday broadcast. But you know, I may just come in and do some of the shading and highlights that I need to do. But for the most part, these guys are pretty much, if I had to say percentage-wise, I would go ahead and say I am at 89% done with the magic wands. 89. And I say 89 because I know that there's some that just need a fair amount more work, and then there's some that need none. So I think 89 is a nice, safe bet. I do like this glitter metallic amethyst. It actually works really, really well. And I think it's the only one I have. Which means I need to make another one. Because you can't just make one of something. You know, maybe we do this. We'll do this. This will be the last variation modification for tonight. So this already has that base purple on it. So I'm gonna marbleize maybe some of the metallic purple on that, or metallic lavender. Let's see. Let me see if I can get it to do anything. Not bad. Not popping up as much. In fact, you know what I'm going to save for that one right there? That really dark black metallic glitter. That's got like a purple in it. I'm really enjoying them, Caliber. That's it. This is how I have. How do you have glitter on your floor upstairs? Right there. That's how. I'm gonna play around with some more, but even that just might want a good wash. I don't know. It might even go all green, and that might be all greens. We'll feel that. We'll feel that one up tomorrow. But yeah, honestly, you know, this little rack right there is almost entirely done, which is cool. That's, you know, a fifth of all of them. That's actually more than a fifth. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm gonna bounce in here tomorrow at some point. Tomorrow typically, as far as my new schedule goes, will be a non-streaming day, but we'll see. Dude, don't even think of, like, I look at these and I know a guy. All right, I know a guy who's a total dick. I know a few of them. All right. And this guy, yeah, thanks, Razor. Thank you. This is just me wrapping it up. I'm gonna come in tomorrow and knock these out, and I'll probably do what I'm thinking I'll do. I'll come in the afternoon, knock out the paint, and then hit with the final. I'll actually probably start doing the poly spray on them tomorrow. That gives me Saturday and Sunday to get poly on them. I could even spray them on Monday for like a third coat if need be. But then I'm done. I don't have to touch them, and I can just focus on all that other stuff. I started making labels and shit today. It's not exciting. But I know this guy is a total douchebag, the dick, and he pissed off somebody, and that somebody had a giant jar of gold glitter, and this other dude was like, done with you. Took a big jar of glitter and literally took the lid off of it and just like fastballed it into the dude's office. Everything. And I mean like laptop, computers, couches, backpacks, coffee. Glitter bombed him with like, I don't know, 16 ounces of glitter in a small office. Like, guy deserved it, I'm not gonna lie, he's a POS. But anyway, so guys, that's it for tonight. Tonight was just basically, kind of sitting down, painting sticks. It's really what I was doing. I was sitting down and painting sticks. But I'm happy with how they're coming out. We're gonna come back here tomorrow, knock out the rest of them, and have something cool for the kids. So, dude, glitter, yeah, no, I will, man. Yeah, glitter, like, forget it. Like, literally, I know, I can see it on my floor right now from just sprinkling like that. So I know if I look at the bottom of my shoes, I know I have it on my shoes. Even on the axe, I wonder if I can see it. There was glitter right here. I might have kind of rubbed it all down when I saw it, but it just gets around, man. It's theater herpes, or whatever you're gonna call it. Yeah. So that's it for me tonight. Thank you guys for coming by. I'm honestly, I appreciate you guys coming by. This is a little bit of a tedious thing. This is not, it's just a little tedious. So thanks for coming by to lighten the load on my mentality, my mental, for everyone. Yeah, I know, right? So, so thanks for stopping by for the combo and just sharing stuff. And stop by next time. Like I said, we're probably going to start kicking in an actual schedule, probably Wednesday through Friday and Sunday with randoms in here and there. Let's think about maybe doing the movie thing too. That sounds pretty fun. But these guys should be in poly tomorrow. Last table is sitting on the table in front of me. That's done. I'm done building. Then we'll maybe do a sword, book, crossbow. Keep going. We'll figure it out, guys. So have a great night, everybody. If I don't jump on tomorrow, have a great weekend. Probably see you Sunday. But that's it. Thank you all for coming in. I do appreciate it. Been a little bit soup to nuts all over tonight, but it's all good. Thank you for all the new follows too recently. So have a great night. I will see you guys around. Caliber, you take care. Watch out for the rain. And be good, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Transitional banner, out.